We still looked around in Paris. It was good to be back, but I missed the quiet of the wilderness, and so we went on for another expedition. Victoria caught up to me at the dock as I was preparing to depart. Excitedly, she told me that she had made an important discovery. By piecing together the coordinates from where islands were appearing, she believed she had found a special island rumored to hold something remarkable. It was vital that I left for this island as soon as possible, and she would be coming with me. I knew the next expedition would not be easy. Was I ready? Yes, I was. We would go to a jungle island. Rumor holds that the secrets of the islands have been carved into a great stone gate. We would try to find it and learn its wisdom. Maybe this time the helpful Avalon Society would help. I decided to indulge in a few drinks the night before the expedition was about to depart. That evening I enjoyed the calming atmosphere of the tavern, tapping my foot to the accordion player's tune as I sipped my drink. Taking notice, he grinned at me and offered to play a song of my choice. I considered what I was in the mood to hear. We would meet with a valiant lady again. So that was what we wanted to hear. He sang the song of a poor young lad and his travels. A tale of the romance and danger of leaving home, a subject I was well acquainted with. Some hours of enjoying the soothing voice of the old accordion player, I roused myself and went to bed. It would be a long time before I heard such music again. Au revoir, Jacques. Au revoir. My ship arrived. Encountering a small supply vessel, I wondered what the Royal Avalon Society had in store for me. I'd buy provisions from them. First aid kits were there at a great price reduction, which was something we would absolutely take with open arms. Also some tea would probably help us greatly. And we could not forget our scout. And look maybe for some cheap moonshine for him. We hoped we had it all, and dealt with it. My provisions chosen, I considered if there was yet more to be done before I landed on the island. Yes, we would like to manage our trek. Already had a girdle ourselves. Maybe, just maybe, we would have liked to have some binoculars on us, so we would see more. Kezia Young would carry the crucifix. Homie, our scout, would get the great hunting rifle and the leather girdle to boot. Looked at our other friends. Oh, maybe we thought it was Durand who should get the girdle to protect. He'd always been so helpful and was so loyal towards us. We went back and indeed looked at the ship storage. and began the expedition. Alan pulled me aside as we neared the island. She was entrusting me the leadership of this expedition, but I would stand by my side to lend a steadying hand. By piecing together reports of explorers, she had determined that an ancient stone gate existed with carvings that explained the secrets of these mysterious, fog-bound islands. The exact location remained unknown. The report indicated that the islanders knew where to find it. We were to contact them to get this information. We were riding through calm waves and landed on a beautiful beach next to an impressive jungle. We would have to find people to speak to the locals. We decided to go further inland. The jungles and the hills. Further away, we heard the sound of some natives. We decided to travel and maybe meet them. I approached the islanders with open arms and a smile on my face. If we were to get information here, it was important to make a good impression. They reacted cautiously, but were not unfriendly. As I was struggling, Malin stepped forward. She seemed to speak their language. The speaker for the islanders reacted with surprise and delight, smiling widely. Soon the locals were at ease with us and willing to help. We asked them about the strange stone gate. The speaker for the islanders hesitated, glancing nervously back at her fellows. Then she invited me to her village to speak to her chieftain. We would get no more from them. It seemed that I would need to deal with their leader to learn more. They told us the location of their village, though. They told us also that dangerous animals apparently rested nearby, and of a strange valley in the mountains. Incredible, we thought. We also wanted to approach a shrine to look what was in it. The temple before me warranted both fear and respect. We heard water and entered the shrine. We found a small shadowy chamber and searched for secrets within, but failed miserably. I felt the flagstone sink beneath my foot with an ominous clunk. I had triggered a trap. Before I could take another breath, a flurry of darts shot from tiny holes in the wall. Disaster! I managed to avoid the darts myself, but Kezia Young was unfortunately struck by one of the wild things. Though the wound was small, it began to fester almost immediately. We entered the altar chamber, investigated the altar, but decided to let the beautiful stuff in there. We decided to leave this place and treat our good translator instantly. She had more color in her cheeks afterwards. We went on through the grasslands. Eager to learn more, we found out that there was a pack of hyenas probably in the jungle nearby, and decided to investigate. After a cup of tea, at least. It made us calm and collected. Decided to attack the pack of hyenas before they would attack us. We were in a beautiful position. Analyze the situation. Marlin made a great hit. A scout shot a hyena. Slashed one of them intently. Decided to let it bleed as well. Shielded too. Hyena laughed, but went down immediately. We picked up their pelts, meat and teeth, and went on to explore. We had found the strange place in the mountains. I decided to travel over there. A cave. A beautiful, wonderful cave. How would we enter, though? We would have to go around there. To approach it from the other side. We decided to explore without a torch. Luckily, we did well this time. Taking care in the dark, I managed to find a path without further problems. The cold grew colder and colder. As I descended into the darkness, eventually I came to a large block of ice with a figure tapped inside. We chiseled away at the block with the help of a vigorous tonic. And indeed were successful easily. Managed to free the figure inside the ice, who was miraculously still alive. He wasn't sure how he got there, but gratefully asked to join my trek. We already had too many people, though, so we left the British soldier. He would have to find his own way home. It was indeed time to move on, and we went to another mysterious place in the jungle. Mosquitoes were flurrying nearby. There was also a scout post that might be able to help us. The islanders in this region had set up a small dwelling that they used as a resting place for the West Scouts. We greeted each other warily. Scout strode forward, willing to check the path ahead for a small compensation. For some animal teeth. Nah. It was too much for us. We decided to go around elsewhere. Drank some good tea. And a little bit of moonshine. To go further to a mysterious place in the hills. Hopefully avoiding the strange mosquitoes. Yuck. There were springs, and we decided to rest there. Perfectly suited for a relaxing soak. It was tense as I sat and stared into the fire. Kezia Young was increasingly irritable. She was clearly itching for a fight. We were resting and resting, though. And healed even the smallest of afflictions. We drank a little bit. Then continued on our way. We had to plan the trip carefully. For mosquitoes were there. A strange monolith appeared again. Kezia Young had also learned something, and we reflected on together with her. There was a lot to think about and to discover still, but not in that part of the island that we already were. We would approach the monolith to go over to the islander village. At least that was our plan. The monolith towered above me, its shifting surface unlike anything I'd seen before. It was as if the dark island fog had been captured in solid shape. We touched the monolith. As I lay my hand on the surface of the monolith, a shock coursed through my body. Images of the island flashed before my eyes, too fast to take in. Places I had been and places I had not. We were sent to a shallow lake, where a stone statue was waiting for us. We drank to celebrate and approached it. I discovered a meticulously carved idol, its cold eyes seeming to stare right at me. It was a disconcerting sight, and I was eager to move on. Valuable offerings, apparently placed by local tribesmen, were strewn about the base of the statue. We wanted to leave an offering to prepare our arrival at the islanders. Maybe a keen eye mushroom would help us. A wave of peace washed over me, and I knew that my sacrifice had been worth the cost. We travelled onward, eager to reach our destination. Heard of a tiger and a panther near the village. But what ultimately was in the village? Which was just as our first islander contacted described it. As we entered, an expectant hush fell over the inhabitants. After a moment, one villager welcomed us. He gestured to a nearby hut, inviting us to speak to their ruler. It seemed that we were expected. But before, Henri Durand went out to capture something, and was incredibly lucky to not get caught. We went and got some glowing star fruit. Very tasty. We went on to meet with the ruler. As we ducked into the gloomy dwelling, the chieftain nodded solemnly. She asked what we wanted, seemingly distrustful of our intentions. We asked about the ancient gate that we had heard of. Reassuring her that we meant no harm, I inquired about the great stone gate that we were here to find. As I talked, her face grew dark. The gate was of the Palikao, she told us. The builders, she named them, the cursed ones, the bringers, the all-knowing. Their works were not to be trifled with. And yet, if we were to do her a boon, perhaps she would see fit to tell us where it could be found. It was far from here, after all, she mused, and what harm could our meddling do? We would agree to help. I was told of a relic of religious significance that had been stolen long ago. They had a map, but I would need to dig it up. We accepted. They prayed for its safe return to the village, thanked the chieftain for their time, and made my exit. We wanted to trade too, and looked around what we could find. They were not intent on buying much, but we had some stuff to trade. And in return, we were looking for food. Mangoes. Would be of great help to us. On second thought, we decided to rest first and then trade for the mangoes. Prepared for the night. I told stories of my travels so far. Intrigued, a young warrior asked me if my homeland was superior to their village. And of course, we said their village was the most beautiful thing to behold. I told the villagers that I preferred being close to nature and that I admired their way of life. They were visibly happy with my answers. I rested in the village for a few days to recover. I seemed welcome enough in the village. Then we traded for food. I reached a deal with them and left. New adventures were waiting. The villagers quickly resumed their business as I left. Our Academy Master was angry, but still had created something for us. We drank a moonshine to help him cope with the situation, then looked at the map. A great jungle was to be seen there. A mountain and a beach. We looked and looked if we could find the place. And it seemed like we already knew where it was located. We planned our return. Hopefully soon. We had to wander dangerous lands. A tiger was to be avoided. We ate some mangoes before we started, but then walked on quickly. Thankfully, the tiger did not notice us. Oh, but then he followed. There were needle plants behind us. We approached a mission we had found in the middle of nowhere. I was greeted by the local missionary who remained expressionless as we entered the mission grounds. Henri Durand was keen on doing something there. He flashed a grin and revealed what he had taken. I had to admire his skill. It seemed that the theft had gone unnoticed. A first aid kit. We pondered what to do next. We would try to trade for some supplies. He had whiskey at an exorbitant price. That was nothing that we wanted to have. He wanted instead to buy our alcohol, which was nothing that we wanted to do. Maybe some dynamite would be great to have, we thought. And so we acquired some and another first aid kit. We left quickly and blessed. He blessed our journey. New discoveries awaited us. The tiger seemingly had calmed, and we wanted to travel, but it seemed like we couldn't. We had to fight the tiger to get back. There's only one tiger. But he was visibly dangerous. He would retaliate for any reroll. Oh, goodness me. We have to protect our people. There was a question what we would do to him and how. First, we would try to make him vulnerable to our attacks. Then we would inspire one of our people. Victoria would have to do it. She nearly eliminated the beast. We slashed and bashed and crashed and decided to finish him with dynamite. Searched the remains for anything useful. And we found some raw meat and a beautiful tiger pelt. Whew. We healed Zhang Wei. He was mauled by the tiger. Thankfully, he recovered. A strange fog had appeared where the monolith once stood. We couldn't pass this. So we were in a dire situation. Huh. What though if we would be able to do away with some of the mountains? We looked into our trek, decided to approach the mission again to see what we had there. Could he trade? Indeed, there was one pack of dynamite that he would give us in exchange for a shovel or two. We needed one shovel, but it was good enough. Where, though, would we be able to travel? Huh. It hadn't been enough. Still, we had more dynamite and we returned to the village. On a further note, getting injured. The glowing star fruit went down. Also ate the mangoes and decided to not stop at the village. We had to return. But how could we do that? Through the strange mosquitoes. We had heard of beautiful butterflies that rested in the jungle, and at least wanted to take them. Our alcoholics grew nervous. Drank some moonshine and some tea. We wanted to renew an area to its former glory, but could not manage to get through that. We had to take the chance of the mosquitoes. It was terrible and terrifying. But we had to go through. We contracted malaria. Would the first aid kit help us? Yes. We approached some friendly islanders. It was a grim day that morning. Rain fell from the sky, making it easy to stay out of sight. We observed a small group of natives get ambushed by a pack of hyenas. The battle was joined. It was clear that the islanders were not getting the best of it. If someone didn't intervene, they were unlikely to survive. We would help them. Could not stand idly by and watch fellow humans be slaughtered by beasts. Steeling myself for the encounter, I gave a cry and joined the battle. Fight! Indeed, they had fled already. And we were up against the beasts ourselves. Took a tonic. To help us through the fight. Malin eliminated one of the hyenas instantly. With her signature move. We went on to slash and bash the enemies. Eliminating a second one. Ow, Malin was hit. But our luck had not yet forgotten us. We defeated the beasts. The surviving islanders thanked me profusely. I had saved their lives, and despite our previous differences, they would never forget this boon. They told us of a mysterious place in the forest that we should visit. We went there. Shrine was to be found there. And we approached it. It was a wasteland shrine. We entered the small, shadowy chamber within and tried to look for secrets. Beneath some debris, I discovered a hidden trap down in the floor. Opening it, I saw a second gloomy chamber. Beneath this one, we entered the hole, landing lightly on my feet in the hidden area below. Found myself among the ruined remains of an arcanist's workshop that had been destroyed in some kind of fire. Perhaps something there could still be salvaged. We found 2 beautiful totem sticks that would ward us against enemies. Managed to find something of rare value in the charred wreckage. Smiling at my fortune, I climbed back into the entry chamber. I decided it was not good to disturb the shrine further. We then wondered at what to do. The healing springs were a good idea, but on the other hand, our people were afraid of heights, so we couldn't get there. We looked around. There wasn't much that we could still have. The question was where we could find something to eat and drink. The shrine. Now, if we went through the thick jungles, there was maybe a path to avoid all that stress for our people that feared heights. And so we would travel there. Found out about some scrolls. Drank some moonshine. Then approached the springs. We rested. Homie and I were having a lively discussion about our findings so far when Kezia Young approached, looking at her tense. She nervously shifted from one foot to another and fixed Homie with her gaze. Suddenly she confessed her love for him. Homie looked as if struck by lightning, but slowly a tender smile appeared on his face. We decided to give these two some space. They were in love. They were in love. The rest of the days had made my aches and pains vanish as if by magic, and we decided to rest again. We found Zhang Wei staring into the distance. I asked him what was wrong. It was Paris. He missed the lively streets, the fragrance of coffee and hot brioche, but especially he missed his favorite cafe, the Café de la Paix. I told him we would be back soon. I just miss it so much, he said, and we reminisced. We left the springs. Planning our next trip. We wanted to avoid unnatural heights as much as we could. Scrolls of renewal. Could maybe help us, but alas, the strange monolith had absolutely disappeared. We could, though, push some terrain downwards, causing it to sink into the earth. Powerful, powerful. We had created a strange chasm, but thankfully we were now able to take a much shorter path. To the forest. We looked at the map again and found exactly the place that we needed. The fog came closer though. And we missed, most of all, alcohol. Digging into the soft earth, I soon made a discovery. Treasure. Opening an old, rotten chest, I found the village's religious artifact inside. We looked around, thinking about what we could do to get to the island most quickly. We decided we had to return to the plateau. We should have gotten more to eat, we decided, but alas, it was too late to think about it. We had to move quickly to avoid more of the fog that had closed in on us. The traveler was nearby. The question was, could we maybe, just maybe, travel to the healing springs again to recover? Yes, we could. Our alcoholics were in panic. We had to rest at the springs again. We hoped for the best. Homie seemed glum tonight. He expressed regret. We would try to comfort him. And indeed it worked. He nodded at me and smiled. I slept over it. We healed and decided to rest again. Kezia Young took me aside one night. She told me Zhang Wei was plotting against me behind my back. How ominous. Still, we would sleep. Or did she know that we didn't? Soothed, we went back. Where was the village, though? We had to go back to the jungles. The fog closed in on us. There was no way to tell how we could pass that fog. We went forward to travel to the village quickly, but we got captivated. Still, we were lucky to approach it quickly. Quiet domestic sounds filled the air. My presence was celebrated by the kind villagers. Clearly my reputation had preceded me. We finished the chieftain's task. She welcomed us back to her hut. Surprise and could it be dismay were written upon her face. Yet she could not stomach the dishonor of reneging on her bargain. Reluctantly she told us what she knew. Slowly she revealed that the ancient gate was on another island. The instructions were odd, relying as much on time and angle of approach as location, but we wrote them down faithfully. I gave Malin an excited nod, and she grinned in return. We had found what we had come for. It was time to set sail. We triumphed. Onwards to the ancient gate. We would look at the island again. That was mysteriously starting to get devoured by the strange purple fog. I set sail for the next island, stopping outside the range of the encircling fog to allow the Royal Avalon Society's supply ship to pull alongside. Supply ship's captain handed over a message from the Royal Avalon Society. The letter read as follows. We felt you should be warned. A rival has been shadowing your movements and is also approaching this island. Be careful. This is no ordinary treasure hunter, but an explorer of great renown. You are up against the great Wong Fei Hung. Malin and I looked at each other in dismay. It seemed we had competition in our endeavor. We would buy provisions to prepare us. Thankfully, we had collected a lot. We would need moonshine to survive this, and tea, and of course many more things. Tiger pelt. We cannot sell items here, we were told. Tea and moonshine seemed the main things we would go for. The tea was just providing that calming effect. That we had to deal with. My provisions chosen, I considered if there was yet more to be done before I landed on the island. We refilled our water. And there I closed the diary and said, thank you for watching and reading my diary with me. Have a great time until next time and happy gaming. This is Immanuel Can, signing out. See you soon and happy gaming.